He was a cultural time bomb. Tradition kamikaze, living life as a flickering fire, a tight TNT bundle straight up bound to burst. He was never meant for the technical life. No hand-me-down, dirty metal, all hours, slave to slathered hands and feet, with nothing to show for the way his heart beats. He tried to fall in love. Saw her counting lucky pennies and trying to make sense, but she only ever saw dollars, big green booming billboards, America's stuffed pockets in the eyes of a boy whose cheeks she wouldn't mind kissing. She wore him like a satin sleeping mask, watching him waste away in work she would never make herself do. One day, he ripped open the ground, dug a hole and named it corruption, clawing up dirt, his blackened fingernails, a sight he was too afraid to acknowledge as normal. He dug deeper by the hour until he hit the bottom, named his newfound hiding place depression, carved the names of his own oppressive system into round-sought walls, drew up cave paintings of fathers ignorant to their own children, watercolored the once colorful American dream in blacks and grays, detailed broken hearts like bird wings, because love used to be the only thing that kept him flying, painted the sun like the destination of a bottle rocket, the starburst he was made to become, because it wasn't just him, and it wasn't just an entire universe trapping him in checkmate like persistent failing pawns, king protecting his queen, kingdom falling at his feet. None of this explained his freedom fire, because it was the cruel, unintentional, spontaneous, beautiful way of the world, the flickering candle of airplanes where there should be stars, of thinking you should be somewhere else no matter where you are. It was the sameness of dreaming and thinking that made him climb out, a soldier no longer in silence, placing the world beneath his boot. He climbed on top before anyone said he couldn't, spilled every salt shaker, walked under every ladder and past every black cat, flipped over every single ground-laden lucky penny, realizing street corner by street corner that all we gotta do sometimes to get by is to defy our own superstitions, our own set forth traditions, to be and become what we were meant to, with no questions asked. Dreams don't ask permission. Talents grown like fingernails or follicles of hair. We were born rocket scientists and rock stars, each bead of our blood pulsing to our kick drum hearts. We should have just stayed kids. Carefree and crazy, our tangled tie-dye hair catching butterflies and ideas. We should have kept our kindergarten essays about the first things we wanted to be. Because between you and me, I think those stories are so much more neon and northern lights than the ones where we pretend to be grown-ups. We should have always kept our eyes in astronaut mode, or looking out at the audience of our big ballerina break. We should have always kept our fingers gripped on a pencil, hands swaddling like a child meant for creation, like him. Sitting on the carpeted living room floor, moving his fingers quick and his thoughts quicker, matching every curve and quiver, these imagined laugh-mobiles and cosmic caricatures blurring his vision. He wished he could pause them and the world and capture everything in that moment. As the page came to life, telling stories of a wrong turn at Albuquerque. The afternoon struck and his time in this world was spent, but he never stopped, chasing those bombastic illustrations down the block, Looney Tunes revolving his mind around and around in his head until he'd created a whole other world, kept his childhood hopes held to his heart like a war medal or a sign around his neck stating, "I won't give up." But sometimes the world around us only wants to take us down, give us a little picture and tell us it's the biggest we're ever gonna get. We forget about these doe-eyed delicacies of grade school scraped knees and playground intricacies, these dreams made of recess and melting summer popsicles. We forget who we always were in the first place, because it's hard to get up when someone's kicking you down. It's hard to be running so far behind when you thought you started in the same place as everyone else. And that's the moment he realized that he never drew himself. Spent his time dwelling on fiction and fantasy, but what about him? He said, "What about me?" Looked in the mirror and began to outline every scar, etched in every time someone said you're not good enough, colored only in honesty and inspiration, stopped worrying about the judgment of the grown-ups, because the minute you give your dream up, you've only grown down. Started back from the beginning and tried to reroute where your heart was, starting from the day that you stood in front of your kindergarten class in pure, undiluted grandeur. So think grander and stop thinking so hard about things you don't love. Stop thinking so hard about the things you think you're above. Stop giving up because this world needs you. The pollen to all of our flowers, the eater of all of our chili dogs, the smile that goes right under our nose. Don't stop grabbing at that dream. We have not even begun to put on our amazingness glasses and really see you for all that you are.